Alright, we're going to look at two different formulas today. One is the distance formula and another one is a midpoint formula. The first one is the distance formula. Basically, this is a formula that's going to tell us the distance from one point to another on the coordinate plane. So the distance d, and that just stands for distance, between 2 points, x1, y1, and x2, y2, is distance equals the square root of the difference between the two x's, x2 minus x1 squared, plus y2 minus y1 squared. So basically that will give us the distance between a point like this and a point like right down there. So given 2 points, we can find the distance between them without even looking at a graph. Using this formula, we're going to put in for x2 is going to be the 3, x1 is going to be your 1, so you got 3 minus 1. Then y2 is the negative 2, and y1 is the negative 5. So you get negative 3 minus 1, or 3 minus 1, sorry, squared. 3 minus 1 is 2, 2 squared is 4. Then you do negative 2 minus negative 5. Remember, keep, change, it becomes negative 2 plus 5. That gives you 3. Then square 3, and that gives you 9. Then add 4 and 9 together to give you 13. And we're going to approximate what the square root of 13 is, since it's not a perfect square. And you should get about 3.16. Now this is the distance between the point 1, negative 5, and 3, negative 2. Alright, with our second one, we have negative 2, 1, and negative 5, 4. Here's our distance equation. Then plug in your numbers. You're going to take x2 is negative 5 minus x1 is negative 2. Square that difference. Add it to y2 minus y1 and square that. So negative 5 minus the negative 2 is a positive 3. We square positive 3 and we get 9. Or excuse me, is a negative 3. Square negative 3, you still get 9. 4 minus 1 is 3. Square 3 and you get 9. So now we've got the square root of 9 plus 9. Now 9 plus 9 is 18. So now I have the square root of 18. And we're going to again approximate that and round. So I'm going to get my distance to be 4.24. And this is a distance between these 2 points, negative 2, 1, and negative 5, 4. Okay, now we're going to put that distance formula to work. I have this quadrilateral that I want to find the perimeter, but notice I have no links to my sides, but I happen to have their coordinate points. So what I'm going to be asked to do is to find the distance of each segment. So that means I've got to find the distance between A to B, B to C, C to D, and A to D, and then add them all up. Use the distance formula each time. So from A to B, I do 3 minus negative 2, and I square that. Then I do 4 minus 2, and I square that. 3 minus negative 2 is going to be 5. 5 squared is 25. 4 minus 2 is 2, Square it, and you get 4. Add these two together, and we get the square root of 29. Now I'm going to leave that for now, the square root of 29, because when I add them all together, it'll give me more of a correct answer and closer number to the true number or true answer, so I'm not rounding really early. Alright, from B to C, so this is going to be my point 2, this is going to be point 1. So I do 3 minus 3, square it, and then negative 3 minus 4, and square that. 3 minus 3 is 0, 0 squared, still 0. Negative 3 minus 4 is going to give me a negative 7. Negative 7 squared is a positive 49. Add 0 and 49 together, we still get 49. And we know 49 is a perfect square, so take the square root of that to get 7. Alright, now we're going C to D. This is my first point, this is my second point. So, negative 3 minus 3, square it. Then negative 2 minus negative 3, and square that. 3 minus 3 is negative 6. Square it, you get a positive 36. Negative 2 minus the negative 3, we get a positive 1. Square that and you get 1. Add 36 and 1 together and you get the square root of 37. Keep it as the square root of 37 until we add them all together. The last one is A to D. D is going to be our second point. A is going to be our first point. So I do negative 3 minus a negative 2, and then square that. Negative 2 minus 2, and square that. Negative 3 minus a negative 2 is going to give us a 1, and it's a negative 1. Square it and get it's a positive 1. Negative 2 minus 2 gives us a negative 4. Negative 4 squared is a positive 16. Add these two together to get 17. That's the square root of 17. Now, to find the perimeter, I'm going to add the square root of 17, square root of 37, square root of 7, and the square root of 29 all together. And that's where I'm going to round once I add all of them together. And you should get 22.59. And that is your entire perimeter around this quadrilateral. Alright, now let's look at midpoint. Midpoint is very, very easy. It's like the average between the x values and the y values. So if I have a line segment and the midpoint's going to be M, you got your endpoints A, which is x1, y1, and B, x2, y2. So we're going to add the two x's together, divide by 2. There's your x coordinate. Add the two y's together, divide by 2. There's your y coordinate. Basically, the midpoint of a segment is the halfway point on that segment. It's going to divide your segment into 2 equal parts. So each side is going to be the same distance. Now, putting the midpoint formula to work. So I'm given 2 points, negative 5, or negative 1, 5, and 3, 0. I'm going to add my two x's together, negative 1 and 3, divide by 2. Then add 5 and 0 and divide by 2. So when I add these two together, I get 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 5 plus 0 is 5. 5 divided by 2 is actually 2 and 1/2. So here is my midpoint. That's it. Okay, now we have 2, 5, and 0, 7. Add my x's, 2 and 0, that's 2. Divide by 2, and that's 1. Add my y's, 5 and 7. 5 plus 7 is 12. Divide by 2, and you get 6. And here is my coordinate point, 1, 6. That is going to be my midpoint of that line segment. Okay, now I have a circle, and I want to find the center of the circle. Now, the center of a circle is going to be the midpoint of a diameter. Well, right here is our circle, and we have our diameter. And we know how to find a midpoint of a line segment, and that's all the diameter is a line segment. So I'm going to take the point negative 1, 5, and the point 4, negative 3. So I add negative 1 and 4 to get 3, divided by 2, and your x is going to be 1 and 1/2. For the y's, I do 5 plus negative 3, and that's going to give me a positive 2. Divide by 2, and my y is 1. So my answer for my center of my circle is going to be 1 and 1/2 and 1. And that's all you have to do to find the midpoint of a circle.